Hi, it's the girl Curly Jamaican here with yet another video for you. And today I wanted to go back to my roots a little bit. Starting out last year, did a lot of videos on military discharge because of something that a friend of mine was going through. And to tell you the honest truth, it was a stressful thing. It was a stressful process, and it rested on my heart enough for me to share his experience, my experience. I was a witness for my friend at his hearing. So I just wanted to express that. So I made a few videos on that. Well, I wanted to go ahead and talk about that today. Um, so I've been in communication with one particular subscriber, I think. I think he's a subscriber, and he has been telling me about his issue regarding his OTH discharge. He's going through the separation process right now, and he pretty much informed me of what has been happening. Now his situation is more unique. It's more unique than what my friend went through. um his situation involves a pre-existing medical condition, which when he explained the situation to me, I was completely at a loss for words, because i just i I just can't understand why young people, this person is 19 years old, why young people are being treated so unfairly by the military. I don't understand if they don't consider the impact of their OTH discharge and their discharges in general on the lives of young people. People that are just starting their lives. This probably might be their first job, their first experience in the working world, and just in terms of being in the military, this is just a completely new experience for a lot of young people that join the military, and they just traumatize them and put them through this separation process with these discharges that are overkill, and just let them into the civilian world, let them release them into the civilian world, and it's just with a tough luck mentality, find your way, figure it out. And I've always thought that this was really callous and just really unfair of the military to treat young people like this. So pretty much what the person was explaining to me is he had a he had a pre-existing condition. This pre-existing condition he didn't know about, because according to him, he only saw his family doctor, I believe, and his family doctor really, you know, said that it was something that would go away. It wasn't anything that's congenital or genetical, or it wasn't anything of that sort. Nothing for him to worry about. So he didn't give it a second thought. He just went with what his practitioner said, and that was it. Well, he joined the military. This wasn't something that was listed on his papers, regarding a pre-existing condition. Somehow they did an investigation into it and then decided to discharge him as OTH because, according to them, he lied about having a pre-existing condition. In all honesty, isn't this an overkill? And I want to hear from my military personnel, my service members. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Isn't this an overkill? Now, in my research, I found that what the most appropriate action to take would be a medical discharge or a physical discharge, which I didn't even know there was such a thing as a physical discharge, but you can be discharged based on physical ailments, um, obesity and other things like heart, heart issues, things like that. I have some information here just to get it right. Um, Yeah. So based on that, you can be discharged on physical discharge based on physical discharge. Physical problems. So I'm thinking, if this is the case, why jump straight to OTH? Why jump straight to that? This person is 19 years old and he's just starting his life. By the time they discharge him with an OTH, he's going into the world without a job. He's got to find a job, stabilize his living conditions, right? He's got to get a job, got to get a place to stay, probably may have to stay with family members, whatever the case is. I'm just guessing. But the first thing he has to do is to get a job to maintain himself because now he's going to be unemployed. Now, in addition to that, this person has a pre-existing condition. So clearly, he won't get any benefits from the VA or anything like that, which he stated that he's not even concerned about that. He just wants to be able to survive and thrive after the military, which a lot of people, they want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I cannot understand why it is that the military destroys young people's potential from the get-go with minor infractions like these. Minor infractions like these. Let's say that he did lie about his pre-existing condition. You're going to send him back into the world with an OTH discharge for a lie or for failing to, it's not even a lie. It's more like a um failure to disclose your pre-existing medical condition. Failure to do that. So it's not even a lie. So you're going to pretty much destroy the rest of this person's life. And I'm telling my military people who don't believe me, an OTH, it might seem, like a step above the the dishonorable discharge. It might seem like a step above that, but it still destroys your life. You're not really able to get a decent job or a high paying job with an OTH unless you have, people and, you probably have, you start your own company, things like that. But for the ordinary Joe, they go out into the civilian world with an OTH. It is a struggle for them to thrive. It is a struggle. They can go to college. I'm talking from experience. My friend went to college, got himself a criminal justice degree, and he pretty much turned his life around, and he struggled for about 15 to 20 years. I'm sorry, he struggled for about 15 years. He struggled for about 15 years to to, to actually maintain a decent lifestyle. A decent lifestyle. He was job hopping, jumping from job to job, right? And he was always the type to be submitting applications, and then whenever it came up, it didn't matter if it was government or private. Whenever his military background came up, they would tell him, well, he has an other than honorable discharge, and so they cannot hire him. So it's and this is for like work and security. I honestly cannot tell you it's the same with other industries. But if you're trying to work in security detail, things like that, it really limits your potential. Now, a lot of people might say, well, if you can't get a job in security, then get another job elsewhere. But this was my friend's forte. This was his strength. This was where he got he got his degree in. This was his experience. Even before he joined the military, he had experience in security. So this is something that he was familiar with and knew, right? He tried to do other jobs. He tried to do other jobs, but in the end, it didn't work out for him because that was not where his strength lay. I'm sorry, where his strength was. That's not where his strength was. So you're telling people to accept jobs. I mean, and the fact is, if they don't have a choice, they just don't have a choice, and that's the fact. But pretty much, if you're coming in saying, well, just take what you can get, that shouldn't be that should not be the option for someone that made the decision to fight for their country, to join the military for minor infractions. That should not be the option. So it really, it really touched me, to see one particular case. It wasn't similar to my friend's case, but it was still an unfair situation where this person clearly did not know he had a pre-existing medical condition, but yet the separation board are steadfast in their accusation that he lied about his pre-existing condition. So therefore, he deserves to be discharged with an OTH. Why is the military destroying people's lives? Why are they doing that? Who are these people that sit on the separation board and just decide make decisions on these discharges? Do you not consider what that person has to go through once they are discharged? I mean, the immediate thing is unemployment. The lifelong issue that these people will face is finding decent jobs, decent paying jobs to support themselves and their families. A lot of them don't even care about the benefits. They just don't want something, a blight on their resume that will bring their qualifications into question. They don't want this because it's not like they are not qualified. It's that you deemed them, or you've saddled them with a discharge for a minor infraction that causes organizations to overlook how qualified these people are for the job. And I have a major problem with this, and I think that a lot of people should have a major problem with this. Now, I just wanted to provide some, since I'm talking about it, I wanted to go ahead and provide some information, while I'm on here, that may be able to assist those that are going through a similar situation. So it is not like the military does not accept people with pre-existing conditions, but there are particular pre-existing conditions that they do not accept. And I believe that the person that I was communicating with, they had that particular pre-existing condition. Now, I didn't ask them to disclose what their pre-existing condition was because I feel like it was personal, but there are particular pre-existing conditions that you cannot enter the military with. Now, if you have a pre-existing condition that you're allowed to enter the military with, and that pre-existing condition was worsened by you being a service member, you can definitely get benefits. You can get VA benefits. You'll have to prove that prove your pre-existing condition, and you will have to prove that it was worsened due to the being in the military. And ways that you can prove that is by the entrance exam mentions your disability. That's to prove that it was a pre-existing condition. And then, of course, information from your doctor to also prove that it was a pre-existing condition. And then after your experience in the military, to prove that it was worsened due to your service in the military. If your entrance exam does not mention your disability, you can submit information based solely on your doctor's examination. If your entrance exam doesn't make any mention of your pre-service disability, the VA will consider that you were in sound physical and mental condition when you entered service. You cannot get disability for aggravation of a pre-existing condition until you can prove that you suffered from the condition prior to your military service. You will need to ask your doctor for help to prove that you had the disability before you served in the military. So it's not like it's doom and gloom if you have a pre-existing condition. I would definitely recommend that if you have a pre-existing condition before entering the military, you look at the list of pre-existing conditions that they will allow you to enter the military with. Now, what happens to those who did not know that they had a pre-existing condition, found out that they had a pre-existing condition in the military? What happens to those people? And that is the gray area that allows the separation board to issue other than honorable discharge to these people and send them packing, send them on their way. And that issue needs to be addressed by the Department of Defense. That is unfair. That is unfair. According to the person I'm in communication with, it stated that they didn't know. They legitimately didn't know that they had a pre-existing condition. If their doctor didn't tell them, clearly this wouldn't be something that they would be investigating or following up on if their doctor told them it's not a problem, it's not an. Clearly, this isn't something that they would leave leave off of their paperwork when entering the military if they knew. And when I'm looking at the logic of it, I cannot understand why they would actually go straight to an OTH discharge. And the fact that this person is 19 years old, inexperienced, makes me think that is the main reason why they're slapping him with such a dire consequence. That makes me think that that is the only reason. When you're young, um, you are less likely to fight back. You're less likely to have the resources to fight back. You're less likely to have the wherewithal to fight back because you don't have experience, legal experience, or you probably don't even know a lot of people that can give you sound advice as to how to proceed when you receive an OTH. But this person is 19 years old. How can you conscientiously, how can you do this to a person that's 19 years old? That person has barely begun their life and they didn't do anything like a sexual assault, but they have to be saddled with an OTH. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. If you can make that make sense, I'm going to shut up. But I promise you, nothing, it doesn't matter how much you defend it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So my next question on that issue is, how is it that they were able to figure out that this is a pre-existing condition if it wasn't something that was mentioned as a pre-existing condition in his paperwork? Now, if you have information on that, please assist, because that part didn't make any sense to me, right? Because if the person with the pre-existing condition didn't think anything of it enough to do any further investigation into it, how did the military decide, hey, this looks very unusual, we're going to test to see if it's a pre-existing condition? And another question that I have is it even ethical to give people with pre-existing conditions other than honorable discharges? Is that ethical? You want to make sure that the person is able to support themselves enough to maintain bills. Now, it doesn't seem like the person I communicated with is significantly impacted by his pre-existing condition. However, for those that are, you want to make sure that when they actually go back into the civilian world, they can get a job that can help them to get regular checkups, pay for their doctor bills, things like that, especially if the VA isn't going to help them. So how is it ethical to know that a person has a pre-existing condition and still send them out into the world with something that will detrimentally hinder their progress, hinder the way that they support themselves? Can someone make that also make sense? I'm just really baffled. I'm baffled at how the military is very good at punishing the victim. Like, seriously, I'm really baffled. They're really good at it. And I think we all know a part of it is that they're trying to minimize or cut the number of service members and actually get benefits. They are kind of narrowing down these numbers. And I think we all know this. I think we all know this. That's why they can just so abruptly make these decisions. Now, this person is looking into speaking to a lawyer. I've recommended that they actually go ahead, contact their Congress member, their Congress person in their city, whatever. Get people involved in this, because there is no way that this can just go down with him getting, because he's going through the process right now, but they are going through the process to administer the OTH, and there's just no way this can just go down without a fight, and there's just no way that this can be swept under the rug. But I am absolutely sure, absolutely sure that it's because he's 19 years old, and they're banking on the fact that he won't fight back, or he won't have enough experience or wherewithal to know how to proceed. My friend said that the process was so traumatizing, he didn't want to fight back. He just wanted to accept what he was going through. He just wanted to accept the situation and be done with it and go home. And he was 20, 21, 22. He didn't want to fight back. He was just that traumatized. He was so dragged through the process, he didn't want to fight back. And I know that they're counting on this. I like your hair, therefore I'm liking your video. Yes, my hair is blue today. It's blue because I am promoting a product, the hair wax product. It's a temporary color that can, you can change your hair color every day of the week if you want. And I wanted to try the blue, not because I like blue, but my Instagram followers are asking me to actually try the blue so they can see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like, and that's why my hair is blue today. But guaranteed in my next video, it won't be blue. Maybe it will be purple. That's how I can actually play with it. But that's not the point of my video. The point of my video is it ethical and is it fair to administer an OTH for a pre-existing medical condition? I'm pretty sure that a lot of people can weigh in on this, and I'm pretty sure you can all agree that this is very unethical. And I want to bring light to it because the military cannot get away with this. And it's just ordinary people that be on the separation board that have the power to make these decisions. It's ordinary people. They themselves, in my opinion, might either they know how to work the system or they don't know how to work the system. So they just make these drastic decisions, not caring about what will happen to the person after that. First and foremost, if you appropriately discharge people, discharge service members, you will have less cases of people trying to upgrade their discharge. Because clearly, if this is a policy or regulation that if you have a certain type of pre-existing condition, you cannot enter the military. Well, we're not even here to debate that. We are here to debate the fact that, well, this was not known by when the person entered the military. Therefore, you shouldn't treat it as if it was a known thing. You shouldn't treat it that way. And I wanted to go back and talk about the medical discharge and the physical discharge, just to, provide a little bit more clarity on it. So the medical and physical discharge, you may qualify for an honorable discharge for medical reasons if you have suffered an injury or debilitating illness during service or during personal time. Conditions such as obesity, seasickness, and air sickness also may qualify you for physical discharge. The Army must determine that your medical situation makes it impossible for you to meet these duties and obligations of your service. To receive an honorable discharge, your service to that point must be rated good to excellent. So my thing is, if he when he entered the military, if you had done a proper examination at the very moment that he was trying to enter the military, which is really something that kind of happened to my friend. At the very moment that he was trying to enter the military, how is it that you could not determine at the time that he entered the military that he had a pre-existing condition? So you had him go through the process, you entered him, and then now you want to say that he lied about the situation when you had it in your power to rule him out as unfit through an examination. What are this is what I really don't even understand. I don't get it. And I will tell you that my friend, what's your Instagram? My Instagram is curly_Jamaican. That is my Instagram. I will tell you that my friend, he said that pretty much in terms of marijuana usage, he received what they call it. He actually got some type of what did they do? Okay, so they told him that he actually disclosed to them that he did use marijuana. They said that, they could do it. There's a process that they could go through that would still get him in the military. And as long as he didn't use that drug again, it was not a problem. So they overrode, they went through a process of overriding this policy, right? And remember, let me tell you, it is a zero tolerance policy for drug usage. They they put him through a process, a drug waiver. So he went through a drug waiver, and they overrode this process and entered him into the military. So this was something that they knew about. They knew about this. Not to say that it was okay for him to use drugs while he was in the military, which is not, it's not really what happened. He ended up almost dying and then relapsing to using drugs again. But this is something that they know. So my question is, how do they know about these things, or how do they do these testings or these preliminary processes and enter people in the military, then punish them so harshly once it comes up again? This is not something that I can wrap my mind around. So if people can comment in people can leave comments in the comment section explaining this, let me know. But I think that this is their way of getting enough people in the military to do their bidding, and then they just don't care what happened to the people once they have served their purpose. This is what it sounds like to me. And let's say that, okay, let's say that they have served their purpose, you no longer need them. Why send them back into the world with an OTH? And in my opinion, like I said before, these are minor infractions. And this is going to bring me to my next point. With these sexual assault cases in the military. You know, according to the Pentagon, according to the Pentagon, about 20,500 service members across the military branches reported being sexually assaulted in 2018 fiscal year. About 13,000 were women, and 7,500 were men. And for men, it's a bit harder to even report that they're sexually assaulted. So there might just be a lot more on both sides, right? And it is these people who we will choose to preserve their jobs, preserve their positions, protect them at all costs. These people committing the sexual assault, but we are throwing out well-intentioned, good service members with OTH into the civilian world. And the DoD did speak on this. The Department of Defense did speak on this. They did admit that they need to do better, and it's still not enough. The troubling statistics also show that the majority, about 70%, still do not officially report such incidents. And the number of cases that are educated are even less. 770 cases were pursued. Sexual assault conviction cases were pursued. Ultimately, 543 of the 2,783 cases went to court-martial. And here is a breakdown of the 543 court-martial cases. 130 resulted in not guilty verdicts. 161 resulted in a conviction in charges unrelated to sexual assault, and 254 resulted in sexual assault convictions. And we're talking about actual reports of 20,500 cases of sexual assault. We're going from that to 254 resulted in being convicted. But yet and still, the military is destroying lives, young lives, with these OTH discharges. When people that really do need to be court-martialed, really do need to be discharged with dishonorable discharges, are still in the military, being protected. Are you kidding me? Yes, I'm speaking out on it. I have a major problem with this. Anyway, I want you guys to know that there are a lot of people going through these situations. There are a lot. You might feel alone, you might feel isolated, but there are a lot of people. And I'm telling you because at least one of my videos on this issue, which is my most viewed video. I'm a part-time, small-time YouTuber, but my most viewed video is on OTH and military discharges. And people are watching these videos because they are impacted, and they want help. They need help. They need guidance. So do not feel alone, like you're the only one going through this. And I will tell you, you must fight back, and you mustn't stop. And you must speak on these issues and you must speak to your Congress members. You must bring this up in politics because this is something that needs to be addressed. Um, you know, I brought up the whole age thing, and I brought it up because the fact is, let's just think about this for a minute. You're 19 years old, 20 years old, 21 years old. You've committed a minor infraction. You have received the other than honorable discharge, and now you must go into the world and figure out your life. You're trying to find a job, but in addition to that, you will have to consult a lawyer, probably do a lot of medical exams. Let me not exaggerate. You'll probably have to do a few expensive medical exams to fight your case. For a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old, 21-year-old who doesn't have that kind of support, and let's be honest, it the people that usually join the military are people that are not thinking about college as an option, are looking for a way to support themselves, and might not have a backup plan. Might not have a backup plan. This is their ticket to a better life. A lot of people, a lot of young people. So by the time you fling them back out, they're back out there not knowing what to do, how to proceed. But then you fling them back out with the OTH, this worsens the problem. And I'm not saying that some of these OTH discharges or dishonorable discharges are not deserved. I'm saying it does need to be revamped where these minor infractions are concerned. A supposed lie for a medical condition, failing to mention a pre-existing condition. Are you kidding me? That is what we're going to. That is how we're going to treat that particular circumstance with an OTH. But imagine the process itself while they're going through it. A 19-year-old, while they're in the military, they might have to get a lawyer. They have to go and actually get their documents and supporting documents, their recommendation letters and things like that in a limited time. In a limited time to fight the separation. How many how many 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds are going to really do that? They know this. And that's why I absolutely believe that age is a factor. I'm not going to stop speaking on these issues. I promise you. And I want all my military service members, I want you guys to comment and tell your story. Don't, you can do it anonymously. I don't even care. But trust me, I read them. I read the comments. You can email me or send me a DM on Instagram. I read them. I promise you. I'm not going to stop talking about this issue. It's unfair. It's unfair to treat young people like this for minor infractions. I'm sorry, but it has to be said. This is something that the government needs to look into. Another thing I wanted to know from my military service members. So, as you all know, I am pro Dr. Jorgensen, and she's all for returning the troops home. Now, I've never been an advocate for war, so this sounds like a good idea to me. It sounds like a good idea to me. Why not just make sure that we are armed and ready here and meddle less into foreign, the business of foreign countries and foreign affairs. But let me ask my military personnel this question. Is it a good idea to return the troops home? Absolutely. What do you think about this? Please let me know as well. But that's all I had to say. I I was hit with this information early this morning, and it just sparked a fire in me. This is like a soft spot for me. I have a soft spot for this for military personnel because of my friend, what he went through. I have a soft spot for you guys, and so I'm always, and I don't you, you always have people that are fighting against their own cause. So you have military people that come onto my videos and they say things like, this is bogus. If you don't want to receive an other than honorable or a dishonorable discharge, then make sure that you are crossing your T's and dotting your I's. This is you know, there is zero tolerance policies, no nonsense zone, whatever. And they won't have any sympathy or empathy for people going through this. But there are too many people that are going through this for us to um ignore it, for us to sweep the issues under the rug, for us to not be openly talking about this. And I've never been in the military. I'm fine. I'm fine with talking about it if others aren't, if military personnel aren't. But I will talk about this issue. And I am passionate about this issue, like I said, because of what my friend went through. So tell me your stories. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I will see you in the next live. Bye.